Hi, everybody, and welcome to Teacher Tip Tuesday. This week's teacher tip is to take note. This has been a very trying year. It has been a year full of unknowns and unexpecteds, but we can't forget to take note of every single one of our students. I started thinking about this actually back around Christmas break. And as I was reflecting on the first semester of school, I started thinking about each of my students. And I started thinking about, what do I know about each of them? Do I know more about some than others? And the answer was yes. So I said, you know what? I need to take note. I knew something about all of them. One time I read in a book that you should be able to name 5 things about your students that aren't academic related. And I've always lived by that rule. So I had my 5 things ruled down, but what I noticed was I knew a lot more about some of my students than others. And it made me take note. Why do I know more about those students? It comes to find out, some of my students on Zoom would always beg to stay after just to chat and talk. And my shyer, more quiet students would always say, okay, I'm going to go work now, and they'd hang up from Zoom. So, of course, the ones that wanted to hang around and share everything with me and weren't as shy and were a little bit more extroverted, I knew a lot more about. So I was wondering and thinking and taking note. How could I reach my students who were shy? What could I do to get them to open up, to talk, even to ask for help? Because a lot of times shy students are scared to ask for help. And even going through all this, I wanted them to be able to come to me and talk and ask for help. So our teacher tip this week is to just take note, reflect. What students do you know a lot more about? And I'm not talking academics. I'm just talking knowing your students, their interests, what they like, how they like to learn. I have students who will tell me, I love to do things with coloring. I love to color. Well, guess what? I use Seesaw in my classroom, and they can color on activities in Seesaw. Knowing that they love to color, and they were really grateful for the coloring book that I got them at Christmas, helped me know I can make some activities that are really inspiring to them. Because I didn't know something academic about them, but what I did find out I could bring into the academics. So just take note. Think about those kids. Think about the ones that you don't know. What are some solutions you can come up with to reach those children, to build the same relationship you have with one that you have with all? For me, some of the things that I did were set up one-on-ones. We had a one-on-one small grouping, but I would always say, so, did you do anything interesting? I would ask them questions about their favorite color or what they liked to do. And the more one-on-one I had with them, the more they would open up and want to share. So that's one of the things that I did. Another thing that I did was I always made sure that I asked if they did want to share something in a class discussion, because sometimes I feel like my shy students had something to say but didn't want to. I didn't push the issue if they didn't want to share, but I always wanted to just make sure they had the opportunity if they were too scared to raise their hand or kind of jump into that conversation. So I'd say, hey, so-and-so, did you want to add on? And you know what? They started to say, yeah, I do. So just take note and think about things that you could do to get to know some of those students that you might not know as well as others. And really reflect on, why do you know more about some than the other ones? So remember, this week, take note. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.